So again, talking about technology in your co-living properties. I've got opinions that have been developed over having run 55 plus homes. Now we're offering our services nationwide. Technology helps us do that, right? We've played around, we've tested, we've learned. I've gone through multiple iterations of everything from locks to thermostats to whether or not I have a thermostat cover. I've tested multiple cameras. I've been through a lot here to share that with you tonight. And then we'll share that with others as we continue to advance here. Okay. First thing I want to talk about is Wi-Fi connectivity. All right. This is an Eero 6 Plus. They are deep discount, at least they were yesterday, on Amazon. It's a mesh network. Now, the difference between a mesh network and something like this little extender that I used to do, right, is a mesh network is basically what a hotel has, right? You can imagine there's not one Wi-Fi router at a hotel distributing the internet throughout, so you can walk through the whole hotel without having to reconnect, right? You got mesh network, it's the same login, and you stay connected as you walk through a large space. These are great when you have a big house. These are even more fantastic when you have two houses next to each other, so that you only need to pay for one internet service, and then cover both properties. I do that at one of my properties. I have a client doing that at one of their properties. I'm only paying $70 a month for internet that's covering 16 people across two homes instead of doubling that expense by having two different instances of AT&T, right? I'm Dave, you raise your hand?
Hey, I was just wondering, I have another Wi-Fi that I use at my homes. My home is 2,400 square feet. We have four homes like that. Um, I had never had any issues with Wi-Fi for my tenants. I'm not sure what size homes do you recommend
Yep.
mesh Wi-Fi for.
Yep. So this would be good for anything a little bit bigger than yours. Okay. So it also depends on where in your home your router is located, right? If it was on one extreme corner, you might not be reaching the other side, right? If it's a two-story home or it's a one-story home and it's just far away, it's not going to work, right? Um, so oftentimes when I'm installing internet in a property, I'm going to be taking my phone and I'm going to be running, just go to Google, type in speed test. I'm just running speed tests throughout the home. Sometimes I'll even take a screenshot of it and save that so I know how each room is doing, right? But there's another benefit to these besides just having internet widespread. We're gonna set this Red Bull can up because I don't have to have one. This pretend is your AT&T router. Okay, this delicious, non-addictive, sugar-free Red Bull. That I don't go through 9 of them a day, right? Is our AT&T router. Now, if I have my cameras set up to this, right? So we're gonna go through cameras later. But if I have my camera set up to this router and something happens to this router, right? It breaks, it happens on occasion, or I decide I want to go from Red Bull, Verizon, I want to switch to AT&T, right? My little mouse here. Now I got rid of that. Now this needs to then be reconnected to the new router, right? If I decide to switch out, either if something breaks or I switch service providers. If I have the Eero or another router, any caffeine gum. Yeah, I've used caffeine gum. I've used everything. No dose was my thing in college. I had to go to the hospital once. Anyway, back to this. All right, so if I have this router here, and instead of connecting the camera to the router, see, I've got props, I instead connect my Eero to the router and then connect all my technology to the Eero, right? It's connected here. This is the Wi-Fi that all the tenants are given. Same name, same tech. It will be, Jeff. Yeah, this is about co-living. We're talking about co-living technology for the first half. We'll get to it. Get to more, right? So first half, structured technology, then we're going to get to more other details. But I'm giving all my rooms, 8, 10 rooms, connectivity to this. There's 8 to 10 TVs, connectivity to this, right? All their cell phones are connected to here, right? All my internal tech is connected to this. If I switch from AT&T to Xfinity, all I need to do is just change the Ethernet cable. I don't need to go back at the house and reconnect the hardware, reconnect everything, tell the tenants all the changes. I don't need to worry about if my property manager set the right password, if they change passwords or anything. None of that needs to happen, right? So having that intermediary technology, which provides better Wi-Fi service throughout the home and a consistent point of connectivity for all your tech. So if your router goes down, if anything happens, it's an easy fix. You call the AT&T up, they show up with their tech, or they mail the new router that gets delivered to the house. It gets installed by your tenant or by the tech. Boom, boom, just plug the Ethernet cable in and you solve the problem. Otherwise, for internet going out or for you changing a plan, you're spending $100 or so to send your PM out or to send a handyman out to reconnect everything. Does that make sense? Like this, when I started doing this, it just made life better. Better internet throughout the house, better connectivity throughout the house. And whenever I change an internet router, which I've done, I've switched from Verizon to, Xfinity to AT&T in multiple homes because honestly, Xfinity sucks. You heard that here. It just makes it so much easier. Okay, we've had routers go down because the house got struck by lightning or something. I don't know, but we switched the router out, easy peasy. You don't need to swing by the house and reconnect. That's step one. That's your base. Okay. Now, cool thing about these routers, this is your bottleneck to your internet speed. Okay, you can go ahead and you can buy, so it supports up to a gigabit. You can buy 2 gig speeds from your provider. You can get AT&T telling you, hey man, I can give you 2 gig fiber connectivity. It's $150 a month. Or you can get 1 gig fiber connectivity for $100 a month, right? It doesn't matter what that line incoming is if everyone's connecting to Wi-Fi, right? This is your limiter. This sets what you want to buy your max internet plan at, unless you're running Ethernet cables to every room in the home. Okay, running Ethernet to every room in the home, which I'm doing with my new builds, which I'm doing with a property that I'm rehabbing, which I'm doing with another property that I'm refreshing. I'm going through adding Ethernet ports to every room in the home, right? If you do that, you don't even need gigabit speeds because honestly, 50 megabit speed wired connection is really fast for that use case, right? It works fine. But again, Eero connectivity, that will set your max internet allocation as well. They can save you money there. Why buy 2 gig? Because you think I should get the fastest when knowing that that's your bottleneck is something to be aware of. All right. Next, we're going to talk about, because I've mentioned them a few times, we're going to talk about locks. All right. Now, we've seen lots of questions about locks. Earlier today, Brent had a question around, hey, if the power goes out, do the locks still work? Right. That was on the Facebook group. They do, at least for the Cycles locks. I think someone else said that Yale does as well. But apparently some other locks, you'll lose connectivity. We like to standardize around a single lock brand for our interior and exterior locks. So we go with Cycles, right? I have all the tech, by the way, because I'm setting up another house. So I just grabbed one of everything, talk to you guys with it today. For the exterior, I like the Cycles deadbolt. Now, there's another version of the Cycles deadbolt that's just a circle, okay? I like the oval one. It's a bigger screen, it's easier to use. The circle one, the numbers are like kind of like a rotary phone, and not everyone gets it. Also, if you're changing out an existing lock on your door and you've had your door painted, or if it's wet, worn at all, the circle lock stands out because you'll see the unpainted or unworn stuff that's behind the other lock. You go with this, it's about the same shape as what you're probably replacing it with, and it fits in better. Some things to note about the Cycles deadbolt: you can set the time for auto lock. So you have to turn it on first of all, but you can set the time. It defaults to 5 seconds. We set that to 60 seconds. Okay, why? Right? So you're Susie, you're getting ready to leave, you got the door open, you turn around and talking to Billy. Hey, Billy, remember, take the trash out tomorrow. It's trash day. Okay, Susie. All right. And then you leave, you slam the door. The auto lock is engaged at that time of distraction, right? When you slam the door, you're busting, you're damaging the deadbolt. You're causing it ajar. That's the reason we have found why when we have an issue with the front door not working, 90% of the time is because the door was slammed one or more times. And it's caused the door, the inner mechanisms to be damaged a bit. And that's a pain, right? You can't just reset it. It's not going to retract all the way. It's an issue. By setting it at 60 seconds, we're giving people time to have that conversation and then close the door. And we've seen much fewer incidents of, hey, the front door is not working, the door is jammed, help me out, right? So just by setting that setting, the auto lock, you want the auto lock for security for the home, but set it to like 60 seconds instead of the default 5 seconds. Make sense? All right. So that right there will also save you some time and some money. And Safely is a great brand. We've tried Eufy for the deadbolts. Eufy has Wi-Fi connectivity built into it. That's what their default is. They originally were doing 4 batteries. They've then increased their battery compartment now for all the new models to 8 batteries. Because the Wi-Fi connectivity chews through batteries, like how Jordan's chewing through whatever he's eating. With a lot of gusto, right? You've got that going on there. So the Safely's are Bluetooth. There is a Wi-Fi version, and there's some discussion going on. I think I saw on one of the channels around, should I go with the Wi-Fi one? They've got more batteries. There are some power saving features that they've built into it, but they've had to get funky. They literally disconnect for an amount of time, right? Paul can do things that I'm not going to recommend because Paul lives in his home or around the corner from his home, right? I'm recommending things for widespread operations and operational efficiencies, right? But Paul's always going to do something a little different. If you haven't seen it, our YouTube video on the Coliving Operations YouTube page, I've got 3 episodes now, filming episode 4 later this week. Bluetooth connectivity. However, what do you need in order to be able to connect to these from your phone? How do I go on my phone and deal with it if I'm not at the house and I can't Bluetooth? Gateways, okay? So Safely makes a gateway, right? This is what turns it from Bluetooth to Wi-Fi, right? This is what lets you log into your lock from anywhere and control things. This plugs into the wall. You don't need to worry about batteries, but the box does not come with the actual thing that lets you connect it to the wall, right? So make sure you purchase like a 6-pack. I got like 20 of these in my car. They're like $6 if you buy in bulk, so that you can actually connect it, right? And when you are buying gateways, buy multiples, all right? And when you're setting up your house to figure out where you want to put the gateway, set your phone down, okay, near where you want to plug it in. Play some music, put your Bluetooth earbuds in, and walk around your house because they're Bluetooth. They got about 30-foot radius. 40 feet in a clear line of sight. If you end up not being able to hear your phone anymore by a lock, you're going to want to install another gateway. Make sense? So I always buy 2 or 3 of them whenever I'm setting up a house. Maybe I don't need to use all of them. Great thing about Amazon is you can return them or you save them for your next project. They're between 30 and 40 bucks each, depending on the sale. If you've got the dongle and you've got a cable, because it connects, this actually is a USB-C connectivity. 80% of the time, one of your tenants is going to think, hey, I need to charge my phone. Oh, look, there's a cable right there. Why don't I borrow that to charge my phone? And then they're going to forget to put it back. And suddenly you can't connect to your locks. We put around them a thermostat lock. Same thing you have around your thermostat, but a thermostat, what is it, case or whatever, right? Do you always use the ones that don't need a key? Use the ones that use the combo lock so you can give the combo lock to your handyman or whoever instead of needing to have a keys floating around the house. Whenever you can, do combos, don't do keys. Door locks, pantry locks, your cleaners thing, always do a combo lock. So that is the gateway, that is the deadbolt. We're also using Safely for the interior lock. Now the Safely interior, this has a handle, right? So that's your deadbolt. This is replacing your handle. I've seen some people try to use deadbolts in bedrooms. Challenge there is now you're increasing your operations. Now you have to drill holes, you got to deal with it. Plus a lot of areas code. It's against code to have a deadbolt installed on a bedroom door. So that can be a problem at some point as well. So just go with the Sifely. It's going to connect to the same gateway. Okay. Bluetooth as well, 4 batteries, runs really well. There's a couple of versions. One of them has the fingerprint. You're never going to use it. You're not going to sit there and set up fingerprints for all of your tenants. You know, you can save $10, get the one without the fingerprint. You have to look a little bit harder on Amazon for it because it doesn't really show up initially. But type in Sifely no fingerprint and that'll pop up. Okay. Again, comes together. They've done a lot of work on the software for them to make them easier to install in mass. If you're talking about something that is a punch code, that is electronic, at some point in time, something's going to get messed up and it's going to get jammed or batteries are going to die. You want you to keep up with it. That's why we put in key boxes. Now, the question for operators is, where do I put these, right? You can buy a 2-pack of these on Amazon. These are the promos, but there's all sorts of brands out there. 2-pack for $18, $9, $10 each. Screw them right into the wall. Try to hit one stud at least. Put it in the wall. I like to put them right by the door for each bedroom. Okay. Why do I do that? I think that's more idiot proof. I think it's, hey, okay, your battery is dead. I'm so sorry. Here's a code for you to get this. And I don't set this to the same code as the bedroom door, right? You set this to something different so you can keep track of who has the key box, so who has the key, right? So you can make sure you get that back. Make sense? If this was the same thing as your door, well, you're changing your door all the time. Are you going to show up in person and change this all the time? No. So just, I've got an algorithm I use to come up with your own methodology to set your code so you know what it is for each room. All right. Now, one of my buddies has a great idea. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to be. Someone takes the key. They use the key. They close this up. They then lock the key in their room. Now what? Right? Well, you know those things you see in the movies where people are trying to steal someone's ID and they can't because it's on a little retractable thingy, or it's always like the custodian's got it, right? You can get retractable zip lines, and they can be made out of thin metal, as well. Screw that in along with one of the screws so it stays tight. Attach the other end to the key, have it close enough to the doorknob. They can take it out, they can unlock it, it zips right back up, they close it. Now there's no way they're walking in that room with the key. And you just say to yourself, that possible issue, right? Been through this a while. So you take one problem, you solve that problem, introduce a new problem, now the key can move. What do we do, right? So you got that problem solved. The alternative that people do is they'll take a bunch of these and they'll number them and they'll put them in the laundry room. Now, if you do that, you've just made it so that you can't have a zip line, right? For it. But some people like that because they think it looks cleaner. They don't want their house to look like it's well thought out, I think. But they do that, just to have it there. There's like Sam Wieger's group, I think someone recommended putting them all on a board and then hanging the board up somewhere. I like them by the bedroom door so you can immediate proof. Hey, it's right there by your door. Go ahead and here's the code. Right? So that's that. All right. Now there was a question on cameras, but let me hit thermostats first. All right. I have a broad portfolio, 55 plus homes, 60 something now. Do the co-living operations. We've got homes that we're managing from afar. As far as we got 3 homes in Miami. We've got homes in a couple of other states. I'm onboarding some more. Exciting news on the VA front coming up in the next week. I've been reading the Alex Ramonesy books, right? Dropped $6,000 on that when he did his thing. So I've got 200 books to give away at some point. But beyond that, best offer. So it's gonna be a great offer coming out next week for my VA service. But thermostats, they're everywhere, and there are homes that have C wires or homes that don't have C wires. I standardized our recommendations around a non-C wire required option, so we can have the same thermostat used anywhere. Like if I'm trying to manage different homes across different locales, I'd like to have a single piece of software to make life easy to manage. If you're building a portfolio, you don't want to have this home on a Nest, this home on an Ecobee, this home on a Sensing, this home on another. You want to have a standardized process, right? And it works out. That's a Sensi Lite. They have other products, but we standardized around that one. Okay. That said, I do have Ecobees in some problem homes. What do I mean by problem homes? A very large home with a not so good AC system and a client that didn't want to invest in fixing their AC system, right? The Sensi, fantastic in many ways, except they don't have external sensors. Ecobee, you can buy 20 sensors, and you can put a sensor in every room in the home. You put one outside for the funsies. And that can help you identify the temperature in every room. You can, with an Ecobee, you can say, all right, take the average temperature of all the sensors, and that's why I want you to use your baseline when you're setting my range. You can tell it, hey, the coldest room in the home, I want you to use that and make sure you heat so that the coldest room in the home is at least 70 degrees. So, but the Ecobee is like a $300 system, and then each sensor is like 50 bucks. Okay. They also require the C-wire. Cameras. All right, I've got two options for you. All right, this is what was my recommendation. This is back when I was using the UP locks. I installed a bunch of these, so I had one platform for exterior. It was my exterior package. The UP locks and the exterior UP cameras. This is an older style design I had floating around my garage when I grabbed it. It's got the solar panel so it can recharge. It would light up when someone got close. But they had a lot of issues staying charged. Okay. We tried everything. We tried adding in extenders so we can make sure it was out more in the sun. Their new ones are much better. So they look like a little handheld video camera. If you remember what those were. The solar panel seems to be a lot better. They seem to do better. They seem easier to mount. Our current recommendation is what we're using for cameras, interior and exterior, and that's the Waze camera. Waze camera, whatever. These are like 30 bucks. The subscription to that is $30 a year, I believe, or it's $120 a year, somewhere in that range. Unlimited cameras, right? So when you're dealing with a lot, it helps out. We'll put a camera in the front yard, in the backyard, probably where the AC is. We want to make sure that our camera captures where the garbage cans are supposed to go. We store it as well as where they need to be on the street. So if you need one camera or two to do that, that lets you monitor trash, make sure your tenants are taking out when they're supposed to, as well as monitor lawn, make sure the lawns are being maintained, right? So you can make sure the lawn guy showed up when he said he did. Care that. Do we attach them to the soffit? Yes, we have. We've attached to soffits, we've attached to trees, we've attached to various areas of the pretty much anywhere. So that gets you our camera. Now for the exterior cameras, you can buy for them solar panels. So solar panels are additional option element for the Waze camera, Waze, whatever. So you can have power, right? Interior, I've taken and mounted them on the ceiling or on the wall close to the ceiling, making sure I can capture the refrigerator and the sink. Okay. Fridge, so I can monitor and make sure, if someone reports food thefts, the sink, so I can monitor and make sure, hey, if someone's reporting and someone's leaving dirty dishes, you've got that captured, right? I like to make sure that we're capturing the front door, either exterior or interior camera, so we can monitor guests and make sure people aren't bringing guests in, right? If you have any other areas of the home that you want to be challenged, you want to cover, you can pop one there. I'm going to take a breath. We've got 3 hand raised. Harsh, you were first, then Handeep, and then Toril.
Hey Dave, my question was when you were discussing the Wi-Fi, you said you started putting Ethernet cables in everybody's room. Now, with people having Ethernet cables in their room, how do they use the internet? Do they have their own router, or do they just plug in their PCs, or how do they use it?
Yep. So I'm installing. I was independent, like running lines. I was tacking them up when someone requested because I got sick of people showing up with their own, right? And then people trip over them and there's a big complaint. So I was putting them in and charging them $50 for the installation and tacking one. But as I'm going back through, I'm rehabbing or rebuilding my homes with Ethernet jacks in the wall. So you can just plug into it. So they're going to need to provide their own short little Ethernet cord, right? But the reason why I'm providing them is people that are work from home. A lot of work from home jobs require a wired connection for their computers, right? So that's everyone that's ever required it or asked for it. That was the reason. There were a couple of gamers that requested it. Some of them paid for it, but in general, I'm just like, well, try refreshing the internet. It's generally worked out for gamers, but work from home people need something there. So it's just a jack. Now that's connecting to my router or to my internet. I'm installing another router, a splitter, right? So I've got a 10 to 20 Ethernet port splitter that then connects to it. So I'm able to run that. I basically build a little server room or server closet in my laundry room. I'm normally doing it. With my new build, I'm literally building a server closet for all the connectivity to be in there and run from that.
That's my second question. I have so our Wi-Fi routers are like literally outside in the living room. I have seen people mess with them. Sometimes try to reset by themselves when the internet goes down,
Yep.
and I'm not even aware of it. So how do you protect that router and having that access to everybody and just yourself?
So in general, I want the tenants to have access to the router. So if something goes down, I can just tell them, hey, can you go reset the router? Right? Try that out. Hasn't really been too much of a challenge for that. If they can self-correct for something, let them do it. Generally, just with everything else tech related, something's broken. If you try turning it off and on again, works out, right? You do want to make sure that it is in a common space. A lot of times people have internet installed, or they'll rehab their home, and wherever a room that they build happens to be where the internet was. You don't want the internet to be in someone's room, right? If anything, I've cut cables before and like, oh no, the cable was cut, and given AT&T a call, I've been like, I'm sorry, can you please come out and send your tech over to reinstall this into the middle of the home because the line was cut. Because they won't come out if they think that there's one there. They'll just mail you one. But you gotta be like, no, it was damaged. Like, I need you to send me a new one, and then they'll send somebody out with less fuss, right? So we do it that way. Okay, but make sure your router is in a common area. Again, I'm not worried about people messing with it. I want people to see it for that purpose. So even in my case, the router for my server room is being designed so that they can see the AT&T router, like turn it on and off again. Whereas the splitter, everything else is in a closet that it feeds into.
Okay, makes sense. I have another question with the cameras. If you put the camera inside and you wire it to an outlet, you have the chance of people just unplugging it if they want to like steal food or something like that. How do you prevent that?
So Miller's talked about this as well, right? He's tried everything from epoxy, like epoxying the lines. You can't even get to it, so you can't unplug it, and everything. I have same thing as I do with the gateways. I put lock boxes around the actual outlet so they can't unplug it from there. And I make sure that the camera is at an angle so it will capture anyone approaching it. And we just let everyone know, hey, listen, we're going to look at it. We're going to catch if you touch it, and it's a $50 fine for messing with it, right? With the new build, again, I thought about that. It's very difficult to try to deal with this with a rehab project. You could, in theory, have your handyman install an outlet in the ceiling, right? And then just connect it to that. With the new builds, I'm building them with ceiling mounted outlets wherever I want to put one. So it's actually on the electrical plan for us to have those.
Maybe we can also put Ethernet at the spot, you can have a camera that connect to Ethernet, so they can get supply directly from your E station, if that's an option
Yeah.
instead of an outlet.
Okay. Hamdeep, you're next, right? Or did you have your hand up as well?
Yeah. So I had a question regarding the Safely locks. Since they do make locks with Wi-Fi inbuilt now.
Yep.
Do you suggest to buy just Wi-Fi or buy gateway? It's cheaper to buy gateway than buy Wi-Fi.
So I'm gonna always recommend to go with the Bluetooth. Fewer battery changes. It's gonna last a lot longer with the Bluetooth than the Wi-Fi version. Now with Cycly's new Wi-Fi version, they've built into it some software options. So you can literally say, all right, disconnect for like from this hour to this hour, try to save power, right? But once you know it, that's when you're gonna have a problem with one of your tenants, right?
Right.
And that's something you can't connect to it, right? I think maintaining longer battery life is more key than the Wi-Fi connectivity. I haven't looked at the price point, but they're probably either the same or the Wi-Fi is a little bit more expensive than the Bluetooth.
$20 more.
$20 more?
Yeah.
Oh, they do. It's a no-brainer. Get the Bluetooth because the gateway is only $20. Like if you're doing more than 2 locks, do the gateway. Tori.
Hey, I heard you talk about the Uber drivers for a little bit, and I'm trying to do my first PadSplit here. I was trying to figure out if it would make sense for me to actually get an EV charger because I only have one driveway spot for the house. Everything else is street parking.
Okay. Well, unless you're willing to tell everybody this parking spot's only for the EV driver, right? You're going to end up having that person being upset, right? If you have a charger and he can't use it, especially if you want to charge him more to use, like for his room, right? Because you're trying to get value out of it to pay for it. He's gonna be like, I'm paying you another $20 a week or $100 a month, and I can't even get to the charger, right?
All right.
So you'd have to either say this spot is only for the person that's paying me for it, or just not have that option. It might not work for that property.
Yeah.
That's where my mind goes. What I'm thinking about. I'm just thinking about if I introduce this, what possible problems does it raise, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know even if I did do that, if it would make financial sense because, that's one car and, all the other rooms are excluded. I mean, does it like pay for itself?
Yep. So, we've charged $10 to $20 per week for rooms that were using the house to charge their cars. We had some people that, for one of my clients, they were just using the regular house outlets with the slow trickle charger. They're only getting like 5 to 20 miles charged a night, right? We're charging them $20. And I mean, the homeowner there, it's only like $10 in electricity extra a month at that slow trickle charge, if that. So he's doing pretty well. With the house, with my home, Kenton Street, that I'm revamping, I'm redoing everything. It's been like 4 years, so I'm repainting it, redoing all the furniture, upgrading in some ways. I'm putting in 2 chargers, one on either side of the home, right? I got space in my box to do it, so, and I'm going to be targeting the Uber driver, but it might not work for every property.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Did we go through all the tech? We went through the cameras. Yeah, I think we did. So that's the first bit. Someone wants to join. Andrew's here. So that's on tech. With Tori asking his question there, I think we're opened up to any questions that people have for the next 20 some odd minutes. And look, Jordan's home. Jordan only eats snacks in the car. His wife wants to make sure he keeps the house clean.
I have a really bad habit of that, so I can't say that's a lie.
Timon, what's your question? How can we help?
Yeah. Had a chat with you about a week ago, and I'm curious when you use your service, who receives the money from PadSplit and then pays you? Do you receive it and collect it and pay the balance to me, or do I receive the money and pay you your fees? How's it work?
Yep, you're talking about the fractional VA service, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So with that, you're getting a VA, right? VA that's taking my 5 years of experience, my recommendations, not only in tech, but everything else, operations wise. They're working for you. All right. You are the one being paid by PadSplit. Will be, by the way, I'm partnering up with some partners of mine. We'll be able to offer an off PadSplit solution here shortly. We're just building it. We're doing some test case to make sure it works, to give you guys information. But any money received from the property goes to the homeowner. Our service bills. So we're going to take your credit card on file. We're going to bill you every month, first of the month, the $350 flat fee for management there.
Okay, thank you.
With the holidays coming, is anyone expecting with your properties to possibly be yelled at by your spouse for looking at your phone and taking care of your properties while you're supposed to be like drinking eggnog and carouseling or with the family, throwing the grandkids in the air, right? We've got the babysitter service, right? Just gonna throw that out there as an ad. Babysitter will watch your house for you while you go have fun for less than my dog sitter charges me to watch my dog for a week. We'll keep your home going, but we're not going to teach you calculus. You can see that on the website as well. I'm Dave. How can I help?
So Dave, regarding advertising, right? Vacancies for the rooms. I know we use Facebook Marketplace, we use Roomies, Roomster. What other piece of tech website are you guys use for make sure you have no vacancy? I'm struggling with vacancy at the moment. Just wanna.
Yeah. So, I can't remember. Are you on or off PadSplit?
Off PadSplit.
You're off PadSplit. Yeah. For a lot of people, this is the slow season, right? Even regular real estate, right? Single family rentals. People just aren't moving during the holidays. They're too busy doing holiday things. There's not a lot of ability you're going to find with most tech platforms to move people at this time, right? What we've started doing and acknowledging that, because we're on the same thing, Roomies, Facebook, pushing it out on apartments.com, Zillow, all those, right? We enhance what PadSplit does as part of our service, right? So if you're using PadSplit, we're going to help out with some additional marketing efforts just as part of it. We're doing that. But what we started doing is going for the niches, right? You've heard the saying, the riches are in the niches. That's where you're generally seeing the gaps. So that's why I'm talking about things like go for the Uber drivers, find the Uber driver Facebook pages, right? So if you just go to Facebook, you type in Uber and your area, you're gonna find someone's got something going, right? Start posting there. Hey guys, having a hard time getting an apartment? Why don't you live by the airport, right? If you had the fast charger, all the Uber benefits, fast charger, we've got a vacuum cleaner on site, shop vac is there, hose available to wash your car down, right? All that can be provided as benefits to a niche. And that's going to help you get people in. And then because no one else is offering things for a specific niche, it's going to help you keep them there, right? Because why would an Uber driver go anywhere else that doesn't have a fast charger if you have a fast charger at your home? And a lot of Uber drivers are, again, I don't know what it is, but I'm saying fast charger because a lot of them are driving Teslas, right? Comes into play. All right. So divorcees is another market that I'm looking at. We're reaching out. We're building a process to reach out to marriage counselors and divorce attorneys, so they can have our information there. Trying to figure out the right way of communicating with them. So when someone's going through separation, now a property that I normally wouldn't have looked at because I've looked for at site, right, is one of my main factors. Look at the location. Where are the sources of employment, right? So I tend not to like heavily residential areas without a lot of jobs nearby. But if I'm targeting the people that are going through separation, and what is our marriage, like a divorce rate is like 50% these days. So if you have 10,000 homes in an area, and you've seen these things, right? You look at a Google map, it's just houses, right? Buying a home in that area now looks more attractive than it normally would be if you can get a 6-8 bedroom home and you're just going to get people in there. They're going through separation. They don't know if they're really going to get divorced. They want to still be near their kids. They want to be near their home. They don't want to sign a 1-year lease somewhere. A lot of times women, for I know why, but they don't have the credit or the funds to get approval for a rental home, right? So they can rent out a room. That starts to look more. So start considering niches that'll work, right?
Can I hop in real quick on that one?
There you go. Yep.
Turbo tenant has been big for me. That pushes it out to 23 different sites, and then I'm able to respond there, as well as I've split up being able to pivot between furnished and unfurnished pretty quickly. I have a garage in one of my houses, and then I just go off of Dave's site, and anytime someone wants unfurnished, I just pull stuff, send it to the house, have my guy do it. And then as far as Facebook Marketplace, one thing I'm going to try this spring is to those demographics. I'm going to have 5 different listings per property to different demographics and then different price points based on where I think they would land. So some thoughts there.
Yeah, people going through a divorce can probably afford rooms at a higher price than someone that's your KFC worker target, right? Your affordable housing. They might be better. So for me, the nirvana would be if I can get a divorce attorney to agree to foot the bill for their tenant, getting paid back at the end of the divorce on their end, right? Was adding that to their bill. Because then I'd have like someone maybe give me 5-6 people, and I don't know how frequent divorce. I don't know. My wife and I love each other. But you're trying to stack that together, get someone else paying the bill for you, right? Coming through. We have someone messaged something. Kristen said nonprofit profit needed housing, we'll rent the rooms, right? We've had churches reach out looking, to be able to help people and put people up. So we've recommended if people that have homes, go to the nearby churches in the area and be like, hey, I've got a place. If you're looking to help somebody out, I'll tell the government I'm renting it to you for $1,000. I'm giving you like $400 off as a charitable donation, and now you can get a tax write-off. I don't know if that's legal or not. This is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a lawyer. Consult a lawyer. But you can try that. Roberto, I see you just sent something in. There you go. Yeah, getting both sides of the divorce, why in a room in the same house. Paul actually had a fun divorce thing going on in his home. He got one side of the separation in his home, the husband, and then the wife visited, and she decided that she wanted to be there because she was lonely at home and wanted the husband to leave. So they were going to do a little switcheroo with roommates on Paul and Harris, but they decided not to. They're like, yeah, we're just going to keep it the way it is for that one. Look at Paul with that face. Like, yeah, I'm the boss. I got both sides.
Yeah, that
All
was
right,
a weird
yeah.
one. I was just saying that was a weird one. Caught us by surprise for sure. So,
Right. Jing, how can we help?
Hi, good evening, David. It's my first time on the call. Thank you for hosting. It's my first time.
Long-time listener. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my first time doing co-living because I had a house haven't been rented out a while. So I was like, oh yeah, maybe it's perfect time to test out. So I'm totally doing this myself, not using PadSplit. Thank you, Paul, for sharing like all the websites because I still have some vacant rooms. I need to bring them out. So my question is, what if one of the members brought in a guest without letting me know? Do you put anything in the contract about any like fine, anything like that? How do you deal with that?
So different people run the businesses different ways, right? I think Paul allows guests a certain number of times a month or something. Other people are like, hey, you can have guests over only once a month consecutively or something. There are people have different rules. I always find it challenging to figure out like how are you gonna verify that and track that, right? So I default to 0 guests. Sounds like you're in the same boat. I find a problem with guests. Generally, if there's a food theft, a guest may have done it. They don't follow any rules. Plus, I background checked everybody in the home. Why would I let in an unknown individual that could have just gotten out of jail, right? Or something, right? You don't know. So how do you promote security in the home while letting in guests? What we do, and this is the benefit of PadSplit, is it's in their lease agreement, their membership agreement. but you can mimic it. There's a section in the lease or lease addendum if you want to take your standard state lease and create your own co-living addendum, which I'm working on, by the way. So you can use your state lease with a recommended addendum. You should still check it with your lawyer, but gives you a starting point where it has like our rules, the violations, and what a fine is. And it goes through our process is warn, fine, remove. So 3 strikes, you're out, right?
Okay.
So when we get a report, someone's got a guest in,
Mm.
we'll warn them. And that first warning is usually pretty good. They might fight back, be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have a guest. I'm like, dude, listen, it's just a warning. If you're not doing it, it's not going to happen again. You're not going to get a fine. So, you know, but we're going to track it as a warning.
I like that. Okay.
If you have cameras in the home, you can check it or have your VA check, or work with me and have my VA check the cameras to see if someone's bringing somebody in, right?
Mhm.
See what's, and then you got proof. Miller loves his cameras for that exact reason. He'll track people. He'll send them a screenshot of the violation. Be like, we've got you dead to rights. Here you are. Here's your warning. Here's your fine. Here's your please get out of the house, right? Addendums to that. Our warn, fine, remove process will skip 1 or 2 steps if there's a huge infraction, right? Someone's there, they bring home 4 people, they're playing video games at 1 o'clock in the morning in their room.
Oh.
Sorry, that's a huge infraction. Just get out. This clearly isn't working for you. Didn't read any of the literature we sent you or listen to what we were talking to you about, right? You don't understand what it is. This is not the type of situation that's going to work for you. Okay, so that's there. We'll skip steps, right? Someone shows up with a weapon, we'll skip steps and we'll have them removed from the property, right? Certainly when they're in the house for the first 30 days, they haven't established tenancy rights, especially if your lease is written for week by week, right?
Mine is month by month.
Okay, or month by month. If they're within the first month, you know, try to get them out before the first month is up. So that first month is a probationary period where you can work to get
You
someone
put
out.
that in the
them out.
lease, Dave?
Hmm?
Like the first month is like probation month?
I consider the first month a probation month, and we have it's implied in the Facebook lease. It doesn't say it directly, but because they're week by week, you can treat it as such. But if I'm going with writing my own contract, I'm letting everyone know first 30 days, probation month, violation of any rules is an immediate removal from the home would be my goal. If they can't keep themselves to follow the rules for the first 30 days when they're new to the community, why wait past 30 days for them to be a bigger problem when you're going to have to go through an eviction process, right? First 30 days, you can trespass them and just have them removed. You can tell them that, right?
Yeah.
After that, now they've established tenancy, and now you have to go through a whole eviction process, right? Just make sure you're following the rules of trespass. Some people think you can just go to the hardware store and get a no trespass sign and put it up and that works. At least in the state of Texas, you need to have a legal notarized no trespassing affidavit in the home. We'll get those printed out. We'll get them notarized. We'll get them mounted to the wall. Okay. As I'm expanding to other states, I'm finding that rule differs from state to state. So we're working through that. Okay.
Cool. Thank you. And you mentioned the template. Like, does your website have that? Is that something your group
Not yet.
offers?
It will be. It'll
Not
be
yet.
something that'll
Okay.
be available
Cool.
through the school at here pretty shortly.
Okay. Cool. Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. We have a few minutes left with our scheduled time. We had some people just join. Yep. Corey?
Quick question, David. You mentioned if they bring a firearm into the home. I'm not sure exactly what you meant about that. Do you have police officers staying in your homes, especially like a newbie kind of police officer?
Yep. So that rule doesn't apply to police officers. Like, I'd love to have a police officer in the home. Like, that rule is, hey, all right, listen, the state's decided that you can have this, and I'm happy having you happy because you're going to keep other problems from happening in my home. So just if anyone raises it up, I'm like, well, there's an exception for for emergency responder personnel,
Thanks.
right? And Paul,
Quick question about the lock boxes. I'm sure you've already considered this, but to maybe prevent a little bit of damage to the drywall or something, have you ever considered lock boxes attached to doors, like right next to the doorknob, right next to the safely?
so it's more expensive to replace a door or to try to like fix a door, right? And more unsightly, if I ever had to, than it is to fix drywall, right? So I'm gonna go with the drywall where I have a stud that I can screw into.
Dave, how about
Okay.
having locks in the closet rack? You just put them on the rack, closet rack.
I've seen people do that as well. I recommend that. So in like the utility closet, you're saying,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
But if you do that, I've had idiots. I don't know if they're high or what. They go in and like it's the one with the sticker 7 on it. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. I have to show up. I get there. I go to the lock. I put the code in. It's working. Right? They mistook the 9 for the 7 or something, right? Or the 1 for the 7 because it's a fancy looking 1. It happens. You put it right by the door, you're idiot proof, right? Plus, if it's by the door, you can do the trick I talked about with the zip line, right? Zip, zip. And now they don't lock the key in the room and you know where it is. A lot of times the solution to one problem brings up another problem and he's got to fix that. Yes, electronic locks are definitively worth it for a couple of reasons, right? It is something that you can change. You can have your assistant change off-site. You can set the same code for the front door, the back door, and the bedroom door for each room, right? Each lock can hold like 50 different codes. So now they only need to remember one code, and you can track someone coming in and out of the home, and you know if they've been coming through. In the event of you being unable to reach somebody in the state of Texas, and I believe many other states, you can change the code and send them a message, hey, we haven't heard from you in a while. For security purposes, to keep your stuff safe, we've changed your code. Please reach out to us so we can give you the new code. And now you can reestablish communications. Sometimes someone has their phone disconnected, we can't get a hold of them, so forth. That's a way to reestablish communications with someone that you just can't get a hold of. They owe you money. You're trying to make sure you can have that conversation with them. It's a great way of getting their attention, right? Okay, so it lets you get their attention, it lets you change the codes, it lets you change codes easily between room turns. It lets you set a maintenance code, and you can change that for each vendor. You need to send a handyman out, you can set up a temporary code for the handyman to get in the room, and you can tell your tenant it's a one-time code. He's not gonna have access to your room later. I just need to make sure he can access your room to change whatever is going on in the room, right? They'll feel more safe with that. They know that they don't have an ongoing code. It just makes them feel better. So again, just been at it a while. Little tips, little tricks. There are people that have used the mechanical punch codes, right? You've seen those. The challenge with those, yes, it's a punch code, but to change it, you have to take the whole lock apart. And you have to go in there and unscrew like 4 more screws after it's apart to get to the actual physical pins. And then you got to change the pins. Property managers don't do that. They don't do that. A digital code, a digital lock, the order matters, right? 7097 is not the same as 7790, right? But a mechanical lock, 77, well, only really one number, 790 is the same as 907, right? For mechanical lock. So you'll see property managers of homes that have mechanical locks just play with the order of the digits to make it look to the owner like they're changing the codes between rooms, and they're not going there, right? Because they're just a huge pain, and it's difficult to get a cleaner to do it or a handyman to do it because of the complexity involved. All right. Someone in town, leave their alarm on. Yep. See, there you go. That gets through. Okay, questions we got? Harsh.
Dave, what's your thoughts on having like a doorbell camera?
A what? A doorbell?
A doorbell camera. like a Ring doorbell camera?
Yeah. So I mean, I like them. They're wired, right? You don't have to worry about the batteries dying on those. Yeah, I'm not against them. I haven't standardized around them, but if that's what you're working with, that's what you're working with. It's good. It's a good option. It certainly covers the entryway to the home, right? It's going to cover any approach to that property, so it's a good option. You know, if I was to do that, I would probably change my camera recommendation to like Ring or something because they have doorbell cameras and other cameras and interior cameras. So that'd be a good one. I haven't gone with Ring honestly because I've like others I've talked to haven't recommended them for the most part. You know, I've got good recommendations on the Wise, which is why we went with it. We tested them out within that. I think Ring, I don't know what they charge for the properties at the scale that we have. There might end up being cost implications there.
I just got rid of Ring this year. It was annoying because all the doorbell knocks would come to me, and then there'd be people standing outside my property thinking it was going to the people in the property, but it wasn't. So
There you go. So that's why. There you go. That's why I don't do it, Hart. That's a bad idea. Bad. But that's fine. What I would love, the perfect camera system to me would be one where I could have a single login for me and my team to see all the properties, but I could give a separate login to each homeowner and be like, all right, these 5 properties are yours. Your version of the login gives you access to those. And where I could have a screen up in the common area of the home so that for that home only, tenants could look through footage and send me screenshots of an issue instead of asking me to look through for it. Like someone backed up and hit someone else's car. Can you look at the camera or whatever? I'd rather they had access to it. I haven't found that yet, but that would be.
I believe Reolink allows you to do that because I can share my cameras with anyone I want.
Okay. REOLINC or LINK?
REOLINK, and you have a web version and no subscription needed. They have indoor cameras, outdoor cameras. I use them for my outdoors cameras, and they've been working perfectly for me. So maybe look into that.
They're awesome.
Perfect. This is one where they have like the box on site.
You can get the box or you can get a Wi-Fi, either or. The box ones are for 10, 20 cameras at a time, but if not, you can use a Wi-Fi as well, or Ethernet, Wi-Fi, or batteries, or solar, whatever they have.
I mean, I'm logging in and I'm seeing like $140 for the cheap ones. REOLINK.com.
Yeah, the ones that I use are
REOLINK.com.
I think $100 outside, but they work fine.
Yeah, the Argus 3 Pro, $100.79.
I think the one that I used was RLC 810WA.
Oh, and scrolling up, there's more. They have so many types of cameras.
They have so many cameras, yeah.
Many cameras. And I think with the 512 gigabyte memory card, I think you can store up to like 15 days of continuous footage.
24/7.
And you can access that through Wi-Fi as well, whatever it's stored.
Yeah, but
you can show up and you can access the card.
yeah, you can only do 15 days of work. You cannot do past 15.
If you do continuous recording, it will rewrite after 15 days.
But if you only have like motion cameras on, then it will last for like a month or 2.
I will look at these. They're just a lot more expensive than what like the Wise camera is like $30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Trying to balance that. Thank you so very much. All right, we're a little bit over, but I'm willing to answer like 2 more questions if we got anything. No problem, Jeff. All right, guys. We all good. That's it. Ashwar.
Thanks,
What
David.
was the name of that camera again? The one you just found out about?
REOLINK.
REOLINK. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
No problem.
Sorry, I might have missed that. So the issue with Wise you noticed, David, what was that?
The issue was with the UFI, and I went with Wise. UFI, like the solar panels just didn't work, didn't keep it charged. So we moved to Wise, which they've got bigger panels. They tend to work a bit better. The new UFI ones, they're like rectangle shape. They seem pretty good. One of my partners is using them and they like them. But the Wise is, it's a Wise. That's $30, and they work really well. But again, they need solar panels extra for exterior. I think I was mentioning my perfect system would be one where I had one login for all cameras for my team to access, where they could like sort it by property. But also so that I can give a separate login to an owner to just see their 5 properties. And I could have a tablet or something up on the wall, so that my tenants could look at the cameras as well and find their own issues. I think someone's stealing my food, and they could look through the camera and then go stab the person that stole their sandwich without needing to look at me.
So Dave, I'm pretty sure you can do it with the link. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So with Wise, I guess you can share the link for any cameras with anyone, in particular the homeowner, if you want to, if you log into your account.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
one that you
Yeah.
showed, they came up with a new version that there's one static camera in the bottom, and the top one will move instead. So with the same form factor.
There's one I saw that will screw into like a light bulb socket. So
Yeah,
it can hang down from the ceiling. That
That
one's
one.
also will work with a couple of houses that I manage. So I'm looking at that too. They got some
Right.
pretty cool designs. Whereas Eufy, they've got breast pumps and cameras and remote like vacuum cleaners. So they like branch out in a different way.
Well, Wise also has vacuum cleaners and other things too.
Okay, works out. I've been thinking about I haven't done it yet, but I've been thinking about the vacuum cleaners. They're getting so cheap at this point. It's even if a tenant broke one or ran off with one, is the benefit there for me just to have it just run every night and just keep the house cleaner? Maybe that helps. You want to make sure that you have a 1-story house and not different levels and so forth, ideally, right? But you have a 2-story. But I've been thinking about it. I haven't tried it yet. I'd be interested to
gonna
hear
give
if
it a
anyone
shot.
does try it, what they would think about that.
I have an extra robo vacuum. I'm gonna put mine on at least the main floor.
Right?
Hey, David.
Yep.
Yaz here from Austin.
Hey.
I just wanted to share that I got a robot vacuum and I've been using them in 3 of my properties. And they are pretty helpful, especially if you have tile and wood floor. And a lot of them are become so inexpensive that you can get one for like less than $100.
Right.
And you can remote activate it, and it keeps a memory of how often it's been activated. And if anyone in the home is wants to use it, they just press the power button. You don't need an app to use it.
Right.
Yeah, you can just pick it up and move it, and it'll find its way back eventually.
It's awesome. And you get the ones that have the base station that'll like suck out the dirt from that day and store it. So now your cleaner, when they're there every month or every couple of weeks, can empty that out.
Yeah,
And
exactly. The newest one I got, it has that the self-emptying feature, and I think that's a good way just to kind of keep the floors clean at which can get dirty in a matter of a day.
Right.
Sometimes.
They need to come up with like a smaller one for countertops. Oh, that would be awesome. Like it just sits there by the sink, right? And it will wash itself and refill up with more soapy water and then just run all and then go back. That would be cool. Like you can come up with like a hockey puck sized countertop Roomba. All right. Someone email Roomba. That would be a great idea.
Hey Paul, maybe we can build one.
All right. Is Paul still here? Did we lose Paul? I feel like we lost Paul. Yeah, we lost Paul.
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are. Oh, all
What
right.
are we
How did I
building?
not
We're
see
building
you?
a new robot vacuum.
Yes, we need a hockey puck sized Roomba to be on the counter to wash the counters in your kitchen, and then go back to the sink and spit out the dirty water and suck in some new clean water. Sand.
I'm on it. I have top men on it Top
right?
man.
That, or here's another idea, right? You got 2 sliding doors on either side of the kitchen, or 1 sliding door, right? And at 1 o'clock in the morning, it locks. And then a steam bath just descends on the whole kitchen, right? And then it hits it with fresh water, and you have a drain in the floor, and it sucks it all up, and then it opens the doors. And every once in a while, you get a complaint that you locked a tenant in there at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you got a steam bath.
But they'll be clean, so they should thank you.
All right. I think for the next one of these, so we're doing them every 2 weeks. Wait, is that gonna be like Christmas? If so, we're gonna have to skip that one. When is that going to be?
2 weeks is the 15th.
16th. 16th. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So we'll be good there. I think we'll pick a topic. I'm thinking site, talking about proper locations, really focusing, doing a deep dive on that. But interesting, if anyone has any other thoughts, go ahead and throw up on the Facebook or in the school, like, hey, let's talk about this next week. All right, I'm gonna post this recording. I don't think we didn't talk about anything particularly crazy, so I'm gonna post this on Facebook. And you can just comment on this with, all right, next week let's talk about whatever topic, and I'll take like 4 or 5 of them. We'll do a vote on that. How do we get to the school? All right, so you get on the little yellow bus, and you get yelled at by all the children. But if that doesn't float your boat, let's see here. How do I new? Here we are. And account. It used to be much easier to share this stupid thing.
David, you mentioned you have a major announcement for next week. Is it about fractional VA?
It is about the fractional VA. It's about the killer offer that I'm refining, right? So you guys know who Alex Ramones is, right? I got a bunch of books. I dropped a bunch of money on it. His $1 million offers book, which I also have, but I'm reading it, is all about putting together a killer offer, right? The offer that you feel like an idiot for refusing, right? And what we're looking at is something like, all right, 2 months of my VA services for free to prove out that we can help you, that we know what we're talking about. And if we don't reduce your hours spent on your property, if I haven't shown you tremendous value, say la vie, it'll probably be a money back guarantee is what we're working on. Do I make it $0 for 2 months, or do I say, all right, you pay the $350, and if you're not happy in 2 months, I give you money back? I think the second one's what I do. I think it's a money back guarantee to get you in there. All right. As well as school is going to have an announcement as well. Honestly, if you go to the school, it's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit while I've been focusing on the VA service because that's what's paying my bills right now. We're going to be revamping it, going through. I've been taking a course on how to set up a really good school and give you lots of value. So I'm revamping the school platform across everything. So that's going to have some changes as well. All right. So that'll be coming through. As far as how to access school, I was in the middle trying to get the link here. Oh, and for school as well, we're going to be turning on affiliate revenue. So every time you recommend somebody and they join through your link to recommend and they buy anything, they buy a course, you're going to get 30% of whatever the course cost is. So if I have a course for $1,000, the person that recommended that person is going to get $300. It's what they recommend. It's what Alex recommends. I'm going to do it. We're going to see how well that works, right? Within it. And I'm having a course A to Z, manage the whole thing. It's going to be pretty expensive, as you would expect, right? What is Uyghur cost charge on his, like $10,000 or whatever for his? It'll be a little bit less, but it's going to teach you how to do everything. Then there's going to be different courses on which you can send your contractor to take, your real estate agent to take. They'll teach them how to best support you, right? In that area, right? So different courses coming out for that. There it is. Invite button onto the members. Okay, here we are. If you want to join the school, click that link. Like I said, it's a bit dead right now while I work on rebuilding it, right? To be so it's gonna be a lot more useful to everybody.
Dave, are you gonna have people start charging to join this school?
So there's gonna be free, right? So this one is gonna go probably to once a month for this call, a free version of the call. You have the community aspect, and there's gonna be something else that'll be free. There's going to be a plus, which is gonna have more phone calls. I'm gonna be doing my SOP releases as a subscription. So 1 or 2 SOPs will be released every week as we're continuing to go through, refine and refine. Right now, there you can buy 11 of the basic SOPs for $47. It's still on sale, which handle a lot of things. But there's always things like someone died, now what? Or how do I get rid of somebody? Are all additional SOP processes that we have. Okay, so you can either sit there. The whole idea of the school is to teach you how to handle it yourself. But the biggest idea from that is to get you to be like, oh my God, there's so much, I don't want to do this anymore. To then hire my VA service, right? It's all scaling up to the VA service. But I want to make sure that people are knowledgeable and are successful. Otherwise, this whole thing falls apart on everybody, right? You see how much content I give away for free. I care about you guys.
And Dave, can you quickly go over the new home? How can we stay in loop with your new build?
So the new build,
Yes.
how can you stay advised of what's going on there?
Yeah, I think you have. Do we need to be the equity partner, or I forgot what you had?
Yeah. So this first build, I was trying to raise money for it. I gave up on that. Fractional crash and burned on me because at the time I didn't have enough people that knew me, so it didn't work. For the new build, I'm building it. We're documenting it. We're gonna use this first one as a proof point to, hey guys, we built one. We know what we're doing. I'm not just some imaginary guy that's gonna take your money and run off with it. Like, here's what we're doing, right? And then we're gonna start raising capital for it, right? To do more. But I want to get the first one done, work out the kinks, show you guys a proof point on it, because sure, you like me, but I'm sure you'd like to verify, right? Because that's at that point you're dealing with a lot of money. If that makes sense, right? I'm still a real estate agent. I still try to find properties to help people get into. It's just the market. I don't know if you guys have noticed the market. People are wanting COVID prices for their homes. They still haven't realized that the market is downtrending, which is why prices are still so high. So it's difficult to find stuff that really pencils out in a lot of areas. Okay. I own 5. I've got 1 new build under construction. I manage 50, actually closer to 60 now. Like 60 properties, a little over 400 rooms. We all of those are on PadSplit, but recognizing the need that people have to see better performance and to save money, I'm forming partnerships with some people to put together what I believe is a cohesive off-platform platform offering, because they don't always provide the value I think they should. They do provide a lot of benefit, like they do, which is what I'm trying to mirror in this other offering. For example, not really thought about is that PadSplit has a lot of people, and people that are moving from house to house, you have a history of them. If you have a home in a PadSplit market, like say you're in Atlanta and you're off PadSplit because you hate them, who are you likely to get? You're likely to get someone that already knows about co-living, but can't get in a PadSplit home, probably because they've been there before and they've been kicked out because they like to smoke and start fires and yell at people. So they've been kicked off platform. But you don't know that because that doesn't show up in your background check. So now you get that person in your home. You think you're saving money, but that person's going to cost you more money, right? So that network effect, right, is pretty strong. It's a big benefit of what they have. Someone can't move from Atlanta here. They've been in the past where you have that history of them. So we want to mimic that. We also want to mimic the concern about fraud. A lot of times you post a room rental, you're like, hey, it's $600 a month, $700 a month. It sounds too good to be true to a lot of people. So now they first go to, you must be trying to scam me. And now they don't click, they don't interact with it, they don't get to that next step so you can prove to them that you're not a scammer, right? But what we're putting together mimics the idea of a listing service. They can go there, they can see the proof points, they can see multiple homes that are listed, right? They'll be able to see that, and it'll be a brand that can start getting a name. So now it's not Bill's house and Sam's house and Sue's house, it's this website, right? And that just gets bigger and starts having its own network effect as well, which is going to help you drive thing. It also makes you look more legitimate if you're driving towards a larger website with more listings than if it's just to your little site with your 4 bedrooms. Does that make sense? There's benefits there. Another benefit about PadSplit right now is they just created an insurance platform, insurance product, right? A lot of times people aren't able to get the insurance that you should have with these properties, something that covers the home and the liability if one tenant stabs another tenant. Now, I've never had a tenant stab another one, but none of your insurance covers that. That's not liability insurance. That's not covered. It's not covered if a wife stabs a husband or a roommate stabs a roommate or gets in a fight or pushes someone down the stairs. That ends up being on you. This insurance, their insurance covers it. Little things that they do provide value. They don't always, I don't think they always justify their 8% on the day-to-day basis unless you start considering all of the things that are in the background that you don't think of until something bad happens. Eshwar, the course I'm putting together is going to have a couple of different offerings. Like if you go to the website now, if you go to school, the group there, I have a couple of different courses. One of them is a 3-day course that I did, but you can also just buy 1 day of that, the day when I went over another property. And I say in there, don't buy this if you're going to buy the bigger one, right? Or if you do, let me know, we'll figure it out, right? But when I relaunch it, it's going to be major course tracks. It's going to be breaking out to like 6 different tracks.
Yeah, thanks, David. As I said, this is my first property that been translating towards the co-living. So just want to check that is it any bundle that we can get all the courses and
Yeah,
life
there'll
learnings.
be a massive bundle, but not everyone's going to
Gotcha.
want to pay that much, right? So
Gotcha.
I also want to offer a, oh my God, I need a tax break and I want to hang out with Dave for a week in Mexico bundle, which would be something like for $30,000, we'll go down to Cancun for a week, and that covers off on your hotel. You got to fly yourself down, but we'll get the hotel room. We'll hang out for a week, and I'll teach you everything possible in a week on co-living while we're sipping margaritas in the pool. You can write that off. $30,000 business expense is the idea there. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be more of a joke thing, but maybe someone buys it.
Which one you suggest, David, to start with, right?
$30,000. Let's take a trip to Cabo. Just you and me, the old man. But right now, if you're are you buying your first one, or do you already have one and you're converting it?
No, I have a multiple, but which are on HOA. But like I'm just acquiring a couple of properties in seller finance in DFW Metroplex area. So
yeah, I would take. There's a free course there in the classroom. On acquisition, right? The acquisition one is free. That goes over the 3 pillars: site, home, and tenant base, to help you understand what you're looking at. Because not every creative finance deal is going to be good for co-living, right? A lot of people have gotten burned on that. So just make sure you check the boxes off, right?
Yeah. Copy that.
After that one, I would do the second one on the list there, the rehab and furnish one.
Gotcha.
That's a property. I go through that, one of my personal properties. I go through the Matterport, the before and after, and I talk about like what we did, what were the considerations that we had in the rehab, why I did things certain ways, so that when you're rehabbing it, what to look for, what to consider to have a good performing property with minimal tenant issues, right? Things like what walls to insulate, have solid core doors, where you should put closets, making sure that the room has good space flow is all covered in there.
Copy that. Yeah. Thanks, David. I'll follow up with you separately. Thank you.
Perfect. Last plug, colivingoperations.com. You can go there. You're going to see information on the VA service, the babysitter service. You're going to see my recommended items on there. So here we are. We do this. Bada boom, bada bing. The Coliving operations. Our recommended furnishings, and we're always updating this. So there's a video. It's right here. Disclosure: I'm an associate. You buy stuff from here, I might make money. But here is me going through the whole list. And in the school, I have this as well. Right, there is another free class, recommended bedroom setup, all the items, and a video of me going through talking about the items as much as we did today, but on more stuff and not just technology, right? So the bed we have and why, the mattress and why, it's all here. You buy this list, you're going to be happy, okay? With performance. This is a dresser that I've used. This is something I just found and I tried, and it's awesome. This dresser took me 35 minutes to put together. It was annoying, little screws. This comes out of the box, folded up, unfold, you click it, and now you got your shelf put together in about 45 seconds. And then these, the ones that I recommend, fit perfectly in here. To give you same design, a 6-drawer setup, but it comes together in like 3 minutes instead of the 30-something minutes. And this is pretty sturdy within that. Okay. So we've got those, and then hanger bars and so forth. If you don't have a closet, for example, all right, it's all here. Talks about what.
Maybe a quick question.
Yep.
I gave you some money. I used your list.
I saw it.
The shelving system that you bought, I was gonna buy that, and then I realized there are all these different configurations. Do you like the other configurations? Are there things I could consider there, or should I just stick to the one that you just showed?
So I picked the one that's here, and for both the drawers and that one, because the drawers that I picked, or the boxes I picked, fit perfectly, right? It's like a perfect, these things together are awesome. But experiment with something else. If you wanted to go more narrow and taller or bigger, play with it, right? You want to get more shelves, give it a shot.
Cool, thank you.
No problem. But after you click on a link here, then I want you to buy your husband or wife like a $10,000 Rolex. Because do you guys know the way affiliate links work for Amazon? This is awesome. If you click on one of my links and then you buy anything 24 hours after you clicked on it, I get a commission from it. So go there, click on something, and then buy like a diamond necklace. I highly recommend it. All right, guys, we are 30 minutes over. My wife's going to murder me. 35 minutes over. Any last question before we leave? Will I do something, another Coliving, and do something like fractional or some kind of a JV? I really want fractional to work. I want to find a property, rehab it, get it filled, and then turn around and bring in and like sell off 50% of it. I want that to be a model. I haven't gotten that to work as of yet, right? I'd love to do that with a new build and get funded up front. I think, you know, with my last experience at fractional, I showed it. It didn't work out so well. For the new build, I think I need to have that proof point, which is why I'm spending the time and my own money building my first one with some partners. So our money, filming it, proving it out, and then I'll try another, like a fractional based on raising for a build. But yeah, I spent a lot of time on the last one and it didn't go anywhere. So I'm a little gun shy. I'll be honest with you.
Dave, when is the completion of that project?
It all depends on approvals. We're in month 2 of working with the city on it, right? And my builder partner, who's built a lot in the area, saying it could be 5-6 months just getting through before we break ground. I might be breaking ground in late March. Okay? All right, guys, that is it. Thank you for attending, and we'll talk soon. Okay?
Thank you, David.
No problem.
Thanks,
For
Dave.
those that showed up late, the full thing will be posted to YouTube and Facebook. Okay, we didn't talk about anything particularly scary, so we'll get that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.